Good evening, my fellow citizens.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Tuesdays Live is on the air. My apologies for showing up first, but Mark says he's sick. Now, we know Mark is kind of sick in the head, but he says he's, incapacitated. I think it's the fact that spring break started and, he wanted to be out there and welcome everybody to spring break. So I think that's where he's at, but if he says he's sick, we'll pretend like he is. So hope you get well soon, Mark, and we'll see him back in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, as a matter of fact. On today's show, we've got one hell of a treat for you. I'm really looking forward to this. Hearing the music earlier today, I got to tell you, you're going to enjoy it. I enjoyed it. I think you're going to have a good time, and I certainly hope that you do. But before we get to it, I'm going to tell you a little bit about a good friend of ours who's running a little thing to help out indie artists all over the world. If you're an indie artist and you don't know Walt over at Indie Music Bus, you really need to. Walt runs this website that helps artists with their social media. If you're on Twitter, Facebook, which I know you are, Instagram, and all of those things, you need to get in touch with Walt over at the Indie Music Bus. He makes it easier for people to find you and find your music. That's what he does, and that's why you need to get a hold of it. He does it all for free. That word is a good word. Free is always good. Take a look at this, and we'll come back with our guest, Strong Arm, in just a moment, right here on Indie Tuesday. Tuesday. It's not Indie, nothing. It's Tuesdays Live. That's the Indie Music Bus. Right now, I'm with Strong Arm. Strong Arm, hey, welcome to the show. Great to have you on with us.
Oh, man, thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. We're always on the lookout for great talent. I listened to your music earlier, and I got to tell you, I really enjoyed it. Now, you're in New York. You're in Brooklyn. Am I correct on that? Brownsville, Brooklyn is what I'm understanding.
Brownsville, Brooklyn, New York.
Now, you grew up in Brooklyn then?
Yes, I did.
All right. Now, you're a hip-hop artist, okay? And is that what you classify? I kind of, when listening to your music, kind of threw me back to old school rap. Is rap and hip-hop kind of the same thing now?
Well, there's a thin line between rap and hip-hop. People look at it, I mean, most real hip-hop artists look at it as hip-hop is something you live. Rap is something you do. It's a difference. It's a lifestyle. It's about the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you feel, everything.
I got you. So,
Harris is an MC. MC Hammer's a rapper.
It's clear as mud. Of course, one of the great things about hip-hop is it encompasses such a wide range of music, in my opinion. Now, I mean, it seems like there's a lot of freedom in that genre of music. Would you agree with that?
Very much so. I don't think that there's ever been like, for instance, we did a lot of experimenting in the 90s with hip-hop. We had all kinds of hip-hop, reggae hip-hop, club hip-hop, hardcore hip-hop, love hip-hop. It was just that time where we could just experiment with just about everything. and I thought it was great. Still think it's great.
Now, how long have you been an artist out there creating your music and producing?
Wow. Woo. See, if I tell you that, then I'm gonna give away my age.
Well, I don't want you to give away your age, but you know.
But I'm not ashamed of how old I am. Yeah, I've been rapping and DJing and beat making. I've been doing this since I was like 16.
So you've been around the block then, is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Because you're not 17, I guess.
No, not at all. Not no more. I wish I was.
Yeah, you and me both. 17 and know what we know now? Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now, I'm reading through your bio here, and one of the things that caught my eye is that it says you're not going to let anything from your past or anything in your future stand in your way. Can you define what you mean by that? Is it just no holds barred, strong arm all the way, or what's the deal there?
Basically, no holds barred all the way. I can't let what people say or what people do or what they think. Yeah, you'll stay in the same place for the rest of your life. You just stay stagnant. That's not cool. But at the same time, that way, when I see another brother out here trying to do something, I push him along. I give him some confidence, some compliment. Yo, keep doing what you're doing. But everybody's not built that way. Yeah.
So is one of the things that you do is because I noticed that you're not only a musician, entertainer, but you're also a producer as well. Is it one of the things you do is go out there and work with other artists to help them make their way, or do you primarily produce your own stuff?
Right now it's just me. At one point I did do that, but if you don't as badly as I want it, then we can't go together. Just because you come with me don't mean you could go with me.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, again, that goes back to nothing's going to stand in your way, I guess, right?
Exactly. Sometimes you just got to let people just find their own way.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I think that's what every artist needs to do. If they're not doing that, they're just kind of imitating the guy they're following, aren't they?
Basically.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you about your music then. You've been around a while, as you said. You've been doing this since you were 16. I'm fairly certain then that you have quite a backlog, a back library.
Yeah.
And that being the case, when you first started out, how has your music changed from then until now?
Well, okay, I look at it this way. As you grow, your music has to grow with you. You can't be, let's just say you just happen to be a cat who's been in this game 25, 30 plus years. You can't be 35 rhyming about stuff that you did when you were 16. So, of course, your music has to grow. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I guess over the years, I've just turned out to be, I just make myself to be a bit bigger, a bit stronger, a bit faster when it comes to what I say, how I say, and who I'm saying it to.
That makes sense. I mean, when you really think about it, you know, like you said, you can't do at 35 what you did at 16. So has that made you what you would consider then a more mature artist? I mean, the topics, I guess, can be the same sometimes, but
most definitely, most definitely.
Kind of the way you write about it and the way you put your music together, has that changed a lot then?
I still use the same formulas, but it's just all about what I choose to write about and how I write it.
So take me through a session where you're writing lyrics. Tell me how you do it. Tell me how you put together a song. What are the steps that go into it for you?
Well, I can't speak for everybody else, but relatively simple for me. I hear a beat, music speaks to you. That's why they say music is the universal language of the world. So music speaks to you. A lot of times you can sit and you can just listen to beat after beat after beat and they do nothing for you. But then you hear that one track and it just hits you. And then you're able to write whatever it is you need to write to that one song. And that's usually just how it goes down for me. I hear a song, I hear a certain track, and it just hits me. And then I just immediately start writing to it. And that's
So,
it. Then once I'm finished, we record.
so it's the music first, then the lyrics most of the time?
Yeah, it's that
Uh,
way for me.
So now I want to make sure I understand a little bit. Is it that one track, that one sample, that one clip that gets the lyrics running in your mind and then you flesh out the music, or do you put all of the music together first?
It could be anything. It could, matter of fact, sometimes you can hear just a little piece of something, and it just gives you a grand idea of where you want to go. You can just hear a little piece. You don't even have to hear a whole song, a whole track, just a little piece. Sometimes I write rhymes before I even have a track to it. But what I usually end up having to do is once I do hit a track, I got to go back and fix the rhyme so it fits the track. So, it could go either way.
All right. So do you produce then, or actually record your music in a lot of indie artists? And I ask this of every indie artist that we interview. A lot of indie artists
Right?
today are recording either from home studios in their bedrooms. Very few of them actually get into a professional recording studio. So, what's a day in recording go for you? What's it look like? Are you out in a professional studio? Are you in a home studio? Where's the magic happen?
Well, what usually happens is I usually end up going to a friend's house just to lay down the groundwork. We lay down the groundwork, get all that together, then we go into a bigger studio, a more professional studio, and do everything else. That's basically it. One thing I don't try to make people think is that what I'm doing is so difficult that I'm the only one that can do it. I'm simple. It's simple for me.
And that's one of the things that I find interesting is a lot of musicians say what I do is simple for me, and but everybody else out there in the world, it's like, yeah, it's rocket science to them, and that's one of the things that I find fascinating, and one of the reasons I ask the questions I do is because I want to see how we can demystify it, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So, okay, now we're gonna play the first song we have of the three that we're going to showcase on today's program, and I want you to
Right.
do me a favor and tell me a little bit about it. But before you do, I want to apologize to everybody out there because every time I go to a full window shot of Strong Arm here, we have a logo which is showing up upside down. Now, there's a reason for
Uh,
that, and I'll tell you about that, and I'll tell you the reason why that logo is showing upside down in a little bit. Strong Arm and I already know, but not everybody else does. So, anyway, tell me a little bit about the first song we're going to hear, which is Gangsta. I want to know what was the inspiration behind it, and how did it come together for you?
that's gangster. Okay, for me, that's gangster is anything that's hot, that makes you look good, that makes you feel good, that's gangster. Whatever it is. If you a dope MC, that's gangster. If you went out to the store yesterday and bought you some fly sneakers that everybody else wants, that's gangster. That's gangster represents anything that's good. Anything in your life, that's gangster. That's where that came from
Okay,
for me.
that makes a lot of more. That makes a lot of sense to me now you say it.
I don't want people to think that that's gangster is all about killing, and it's nothing about that. It's about your way of life. If you got people that if you got that swag, you fly. That's gangster.
You kind of put a twist on a phrase that others might use in a negative way. You're taking it and throwing it a different direction.
Correct.
Awesome. Well, let's take a listen to it, everybody, on Tuesdays live tonight. This is Strong Arm, and that's Gangsta right here.
Came up from the street with enough heat. Yeah. Came up from the street with enough heat. Right. Last year, yo, you didn't know me. Came up from the street with enough heat. Strong arm, strong arm. Last year, yo, you didn't know me. Here we go, here we go. That's gangsta. That's gangsta. That's gangsta. That's gangsta. Can never go wrong when it's the strong arm. Heat that I bring lasting all night long. The strong spill for this game on any given night. It's only right that tonight be the night. Can never go wrong when it's the strong arm. Heat that I bring lasting all night long. Live and direct, what you expect. Hot asking me out of NYC. Run if you want, I'm the flavor of the month. Strong arm, gon' give you what you want. Game comes down to me, cats like me, real MCs from the street. Gangsta. Run if you want, I'm the flavor of the month. Strong arm, gon' give you what you want. Game comes down to me, cats like me, real MCs from the street. Gangsta. Came up from the street with enough heat. That's gangsta. Last year, yo, you didn't know me. That's gangsta. Came up from the street with enough heat. That's gangsta. Last year, yo, you didn't know me. That's gangsta. That's gangsta. That's gangsta. That's gangsta. That's gangsta. Can never go wrong when it's the strong arm. Heat that I bring lasting all night long. I'm the best of the new, more shine than the sun. There's more than what you got to get the job done. Can never go wrong when it's the strong arm. Heat that I bring lasting all night long. Believe what you heard, plus believe what you see. I'm the true definition of a real MC. Run if you want, I'm the flavor of the month. Strong arm, gon' give you what you want. Game comes down to me, cats like me, real MCs from the street. Gangsta. Run if you want, I'm the flavor of the month. Strong arm, gon' give you what you want. Game comes down to me, cats like me, real MCs from the street. Gangsta. Came up from the street with enough heat. That's gangsta. Last year, yo, you didn't know me. That's gangsta. Came up from the street with enough heat. That's gangsta. Last year, yo, you didn't know me. That's gangsta. Came up from the street with enough heat. That's gangsta. Last year, yo, you didn't know me. That's gangsta. Came up from the street with enough heat. That's gangsta. Last year, yo, you didn't know me. That's gangsta.
That's Gangsta. This is Strong Arm, and you're watching Tuesdays Live. My name's Rich. Now, that's a great song, and after you explained what the title actually means, it really is a very cool, very uplifting, meaningful song. I like it. I like what you got going on there, man.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So tell me, who were your early hip-hop inspirations, or just in general musical inspirations for you?
Wow. If I run down that list, we'll be here all day, Rich. All day. But you know, to simplify that, of course, my first hip-hop musical inspirations, of course, goes all the way back to the Run DMC days, man. Run DMC, LL, Big Daddy Kane, Heavy D, UTFO, you name it, man. But Run DMC started it all. Run, Rev Run. He started it all for me. He's the one that said, yo, I want to do that.
Yeah, again, back in the early days of hip hop, that's some good inspiration to have. I tell you, it's good stuff to hear. When I back in the '80s and began listening to hip hop as it came out, or back then as it was called, just rap. It was so different from what you would had heard for the past, previous to that, 30 years or 40 years or whatever the case was. And it was as different to rock music as what rock music was to, what was popular back in the 40s. You know what I mean? It was just that much of a leap in music. So that being said, where do you see hip hop going in the future? Is it going to be the jumping off point to something even more radically different, or what do you think? I think your screen froze there for a second. I just want to make that clear to our audience. Sometimes when we have guests on Wi-Fi, the screen will lock up a little bit, and that will be why we have these temporary, in some case, freezes. So let me check to make sure we've got what we got going on here. Oh, the call was disconnected. So apparently what has happened is we've lost our guest for the moment. I'm going to give him some time to recover and get back online with us. And hopefully he will do that, because some great conversation we got going on here and some really good music to listen to as well. And I want to make sure that we get to hear what he has to say, because I think Strong Arm has a lot to say, not only in his music, but also through this conversation as well. And of course, if you have questions, you all know, if you're a regular viewer of the show, you can get in contact with us on Twitter at AllIndie, ALLINDIE. Don't hesitate to send your questions in. We'll be happy to ask them as well, and give you a shout out too. So don't hesitate to do that. And again, we're waiting on Strong Arm to get back with us while he hopefully we'll reload that screen. Now, he may be answering the question, not even aware that his screen has locked up on him. But hopefully he'll get back with us here in just a second. Now, while we do that, again, I want to reiterate the fact that there will be no show on the 20th. Next week, we will be out. And we'll be back on the 27th. On the 27th of March, we'll have Deidre Thornell on with us, and we're looking forward to that as well. Right now, tonight, on today's Tuesdays Live, we have Strong Arm with us. Strong Arm is from Brooklyn, a native born and bred, he said, in Brooklyn. And got some great music. We just heard Gangsta. We're going to hear Bet You Didn't Know here in just a little bit, but right now we're waiting for Strong Arm to get back online with us, because his call has dropped on us. And, you know, if Mark were here, if he weren't sick out looking at girls on the beach, he and I would have a discussion back and forth about how small the town is that I live in. So you're not missing much there, I got to tell you. All right, I don't see Strong Arm coming back with us. Let me check again over here. When you see me leaning off to the side, that means I'm checking the system that we take these calls on to make sure that we have everyone where we need them. But in this case, unfortunate that we don't, so I'm hoping that he'll get back in touch with us here in just a couple of seconds. And if he doesn't, I will vamp. You don't want to hear me vamp, though. I mean, if you did, you would be very happy right now, I guess. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. It is 24 minutes after the hour. I'm going to go ahead and play Bet You Didn't Know while we wait for Strong Arm to get back online with us. And when he does, hopefully that song will be still playing or almost over. And we'll come back and have some more with Strong Arm. But right now, this is Bet You Didn't Know by Strong Arm. So here we go. Enjoy this track, will you?
Come on. West side. East side. West side.
I bet you didn't even know. Survival crew.
Come on.
1, 2, yo, I'm coming for you. 3, 4, 3, 4, yo, I'm at your door. Survival crew, this how we do. Bounce, survival crew, this how we do. Bounce, SC, SC, it's all on me. That's in the world, baby. Come on. Strong, armed, and dangerous. The weak remain nameless. Stay bringing pain, using 4 different languages. I'm like a beast, I'm like KJ, no taming this. It wasn't painless when the strong arm came with this. Watch me bang with this, brains in the range with this. You can't hang with this, I'm too damn dangerous. Having my way with this, all day play with this. Been clanking this, the way that we pay for this. You caught shame from this while I catch fame for this. Murder dog, you're the one that paid the way for this. Got the nerve to run your mouth and try to hate on this. You 10 in the game, considered a plagiarist. Treated like you're straight up gon' late with this. After one night, the wanna stay with this. You ain't made for this, no way you can play with this. I've lost major chips, contract major hits. I'm not the same with this, run the whole game with this. Step to me and it's a whole world of pain you get. I'm untouchable, I beat any case with this. I bet you didn't even know. East side's getting down with this. West side's getting down with this. Kept it hot, blew the spot, played opposition, kept it locked. Everybody's getting down with this. East side's getting down with this. West side's getting down with this. Kept it hot, blew the spot, played opposition, kept it locked. Everybody's getting down with this. Throw your guns in. The stage is where I shine. Bring it prime time like a Chardonnay wine. Getting better each and every time. Line for line, I'm always gonna get mine. Keep it happy like a chick getting Valentine's. You're not strong enough yet, yo, the mine. You make me laugh, take your Carolines. I spit battle lines, busting off battle lines. Commit battle crime, sipping on Valentine. Dropping shit by the toilet bowl loads. Call me the wizard and follow my brick road. I'm cold as ice, which means show I'm ice cold. Play my position, change my name, yo, the stronghold. Watch how this ground build, and yo, keep it biz. You know you see my point, how the point that is. I blew your heads off, showed you where it's at. Used to watch Thundercats, now I'm packing Thundercats. There ain't nigga in this game, yo, to come get me. You wanna make it sticky, the 5 ones is with me. The misunderstood, I'm up to no good. Out my hood, now I'm out to take your manhood. I bring the heat down from NY to Beantown. Hear them scream loud, hear them scream now. I don't play around, nor do I around. And you can tell from the bodies that are left around. I came, I saw, yo, I conquered it all. Every stage, every mic, best believe, yo, I rips it all. You want the ball, be the one whose name they call. Only one problem, strong, gon' be your downfall. Talking cheap, so you know you got to show me. Steady hands are the only ones to hold heat. Never ever be a that owes me. Just like the Bible, I'ma leave you holy. East side's getting down with this. West side's getting down with this. Kept it hot, through the spotlight opposition, kept it locked. Everybody's getting down with this. East side's getting down with this. West side's getting down with this. Kept it hot, through the spotlight opposition, kept it locked. Everybody's getting down with this. East side's getting down with this. West side's getting down with this. Kept it hot, through the spotlight opposition, kept it locked. Everybody's getting down with this. East side's getting down with this. West side's getting down with this. Kept it hot, through the spotlight opposition, kept it locked. Everybody's getting down with this. Come on. Survival crew, Brownsville BK, Killer Queens NY. Yo, yo, don't you didn't know. Survival crew, Brownsville BK, Killer Queens NY. Eastside. Westside. I bet you didn't even know. Survival crew. Come on.
All right, that's Betcha Didn't Know. That's Strong Arm here on Tuesdays Live. And yes, indeed, everybody, we do have him back online with us. Thank goodness you're back, Strong Arm. Thanks for being back. Tell me a little bit about Betcha Didn't Know. You're still hearing it playing, I'll bet, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and tell me a little bit about it, and that way our audience can understand a little bit about this track.
Basically, it came to me one day. A lot of times when artists do their music, or they come out with a hit record or whatever, other people, that's the only way they know how to do it. They'll do their music in one way and one way only. And you know, a lot of artists are like that. I don't knock anybody for doing their music the way they do it. But I did Bet You Didn't Know to let them know that that track was going to be different from anything else that I have recorded. So I'm letting you know, Bet You Didn't Know that we was coming like this. And a lot of people heard it. And when people heard it for the first time, they noticed that it was very different from what was previously recorded. So the whole point was for it to be different. Bet you didn't know. I bet you didn't know that I could do this. I bet you didn't know that I could do that. Because you know.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense, because one of the things that I mentioned while we were listening to that is how different the music is on that track. And it's got a strong lyric to it, but one of the things that caught my eye or caught my ear is how many different elements and how different they are than a lot of stuff that you hear today.
You have to definitely give that up to my man Warren J. Gallimore, my man Warren. Because when it comes to that, when it comes to a lot of music, he has a great ear. He has a very great ear. Like stuff that we don't hear, he will hear. So it's like, oh, okay. So it makes you wonder, like, okay, that's kind of hard. I like how you did that. So then certain people like yourself are able to listen and pick out certain things that they're hearing that nobody else is hearing. Like, yeah, I heard. And sometimes you'll think that people actually don't hear certain things, but they do.
Yeah.
Like you do.
I agree with you. I think that a lot of people will think that, something's going on in a track. That, nobody will hear that, or you got a little mistake here. Nobody will hear that. Well, sure they do. That's why you have producers. They go through and figure that crap out for you, right?
Mm-hmm. But one thing I need people to know and to please understand, these songs are EDM remixes of previously recorded songs. So there are there are straight up, street level hip hop versions to the songs that Mr. Rich is playing for y'all. So don't go ahead that all I do is EDM. No. Understand, I'm from the hood, I'm from the street. I spit it. When I need to spit it, I spit it for y'all. And just to let y'all know. So be on the lookout for a whole bunch of things. You just gotta understand, we're just not gonna stay in one place. We're gonna move all around the board. So people know, like, yo, they not playing. No, we're not playing. And I'm not knocking on your door. I'm not knocking on their doors. I'm kicking it in.
No, I totally agree with you there. That's again, we get back to that whole freedom of the hip hop genre. You can do that with your lyrics, with your music. You can go all those directions at once, and like you said, kick that door in.
Kicking it in, and if I can't kick the door in, I'm coming through the window.
Now, let me get back. Let me take you back to the question I asked before we had that unfortunate drop in connection. The direction of hip hop today, is it going to make a huge leap, like the leap between rock and hip hop back in the late 70s did? Is there going to be this huge leap? Is hip hop going to be the forefront of that?
Oh, wow. Okay. You see, because when I'm asked about today's hip hop, then, oh, well, you hating, you this, you that. Okay. Let me just say this. The same way I had my hip hop heroes growing up is the same way that my children have their hip hop heroes now. Only issue I have with music now is everyone sounds the same. So I don't see hip hop making no huge leap unless somebody just comes out and takes the lead and everybody just follows that lead. But what I'm saying is, think outside the box. Hip hop is huge. I mean, you can do so much with it. So much. I just don't like to see a lot of people follow the same road. Create your own lane. You got to understand, cats have created their own lanes. Create your own lane. That's all I'm saying.
And that's what you're doing with your music, right? I mean, you're taking this, as you said, street level music, and you're taking it to another level with EDM. You're mixing it up, broadening that base of what your music is, aren't you?
Right. We're not trying to follow what everybody else is doing. We have to get out of that mentality that we got to follow what everybody else is doing. Stop. I mean, don't get it twisted. There are artists today that I do like. Some and some stuff is very, very catchy. Very, very catchy. So some of it I do like. Some of it I just be shit like, wow. You can always just go, wow.
You just kind of shake your head and wonder why.
Why? Some artists just really did. They just really a lot of artists just throw. A lot of today's artists just throw me off.
So
Really
so
throw me off.
what
But
advice would you have for upcoming hip hop artists or upcoming artists in general when it comes to getting in the biz, when it comes to doing well, progressing through? What advice would you have for them?
study,
When you say
study
study,
everything that came before you. Study it all, because that's the one thing when we were kids. When you started rapping, you always went back to those who did it before you. You always studied them. I don't, and I'm not just talking about like rapping. I'm talking about rapping, DJing. Even if you're on the business side, study. Go back, study. You know, study. That's all I'm saying. Because they've never listened to a Biggie record. I look at them like they crazy. Are you crazy? You supposed to, you know, if you play a guitar, if you're a guitarist, you're supposed to know what Jimi Hendrix sounds like, basically. If you call yourself a soul singer, you're supposed to know what Al Green sounds like. You're supposed to have a ton of Al Green records. That's just how I see it. You're just supposed to know those artists that came before you. To me, study. That's what we did. We studied.
Yep, no, it makes sense to me. It makes perfect sense. It's kind of reminds me of the whole premise of there's a scene. I don't know if you've seen the movie School of Rock, but there's a scene in that movie where the main actor Jack Black is handing out CDs to the kids in this class so they can understand what rock music is and understand what it is that they're making a band in this class for a contest.
Right.
And he's like, okay, you're the lead guitarist. Here's Van Halen. You need to listen to Eruption. Eddie Van Halen kills it here. Here, you know, the keyboardist. Here's Yes. You need to listen to this. Here's Led Zeppelin. You know, just a different, you know, so they can understand the history of it and how it affects them today.
And a lot of people don't understand the history of the culture. It's all about the culture. Hip hop was something that was created from nothing. And look what it's doing today. That's all I'm saying. Study. Study.
Absolutely
Study.
true. Absolutely true. Couldn't have said it better. I think you hit the nail right on the head there. So where's Strong Arm going from now till tomorrow? What's next for Strong Arm? You got any albums coming out? You're touring. What's going on with you?
Right now, we're gonna finish up this EDM EDP. The EP. We're gonna finish that up. We got a lot of things in the works. A lot of things that I can't talk about yet because I don't like to talk about stuff that hasn't happened yet. That's in the work, because then it might not come through, and I don't want to look like a liar. So we got a lot of things coming up. Trust and believe. Trust and believe that.
All right. I won't ask about touring then. Now the
trust me, the tour, it's coming. It's coming. Trust me, it's coming.
Hey, let me know when you got it nailed down. Let me know, and we'll get the word out for you, as well as everybody else I know will as well. But and you definitely want to make sure that you get the opportunity to book somewhere down toward the Miami area so that Mark can get out there and see you when he's not on the beach. I'm going to give him a second, see if he's still there. Hopefully he is. Oh no, we got disconnected once again. He's going to have to connect back in. You know, I got to tell you though, a lot of great advice there, a lot of good insight from Strong Arm. And, you know, the interesting thing about it is he's 100% right when it comes to study. If you're a musician out there, if you're an indie artist and wanting to get into the big leagues and make your music as best it can be, whether it's on stage or not, you need to study. There is no doubt about that. That is a great answer from him, and one that I've actually never heard from an indie artist before. So I think that there's a lot to be said for that. Very good stuff. Reminder, tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but next week, we will not be broadcasting. We will not be on the air on the 20th of March. However, we will be back on the 27th of March with Deidre Thornell. So make sure you tune in for that. Hopefully, Mark will be better by then. I think spring break will be over by then, so I think he will be, but we'll find out. Anyway, you're listening to and watching Tuesdays Live. My name's Rich Wildman, and we've got Strong Arm on the show with us today. It's unfortunate, though, that the call has once again dropped on us. So while he's reconnecting, what we're going to do is take the opportunity, being almost a quarter till the top of the hour, we're going to take the opportunity to listen to the third song. We'll find out more about it when Strong Arm joins us again. It's called Where You At? It's here on Tuesdays Live.
Brownsville. Where you at, son? Where you at, kid? What? Survival crew rackets, strong arm, strangulation. Where you at, kid? Where you at, son? Makes it my business, show you how I get down. Brings it mad loud when I represent my town. Where I'm from, don't try to act like you don't know. I got it in for those who try to with my dough. But those who don't know, I'm making sure that you know. The illegitimate show, y'all all got to go. Think twice, yo, before coming at me. Cause I dots every eye and I cross every T, motherfucker. So come on and put your bets down, players. And let's see who's gonna be the next player. For the spotlight, you know that I'm starving. If I was Batman, I'd have to say, forget Robin. It's only right we wildin' out for the night. With girls of all complexions, every size, every type. Just in case you wanna go a few rounds when we come to your town. Yo, the straight blow it down. On my Brooklyn motherfucker. Where you at? Pumping, thinking, hit me, throwing it. If you feel what I'm saying, on my react. When it's time to hit the street, we got your back. On my Bronx, motherfucker. Where you at? Pumping, drinking, hit me, throwing it. If you feel what I'm saying, on my react. When it's time to hit the street, we got your back. Yo, who the f*** you think you are? Ain't up the par. Okay, you have a hit record that don't make you a star. Dig it, don't talk that bullshit. You don't live it. Being a big dog too soon, you'll end up in the river. Like me, blowing it out every time, every rhyme. Best believe the strong, yo, I'm getting mine. Best believe what I say and where I say I'm headed. And if you think you coming close, your whole shit dead it. Ain't no hocus pocus, I'm swarming like a locust. I'm hot and smoking, no joking. Think throwing bitches and got a joking. Feel what I say, cause I say what I feel. Understanding is the thin line between the fake and the real. Out the kill, 3D in your grill. Yeah, on yourself, staring out the barrel of my steel. Whether on your block, in the club, or in your car, throw your hands in the air. Let me know where you are. All my queens, motherfucker. Where you at? Puffin', drinking Henny, throwing it. If you feel what I'm saying, on my react. When it's time to hit the street, we got your back. Uptown, motherfucker. Where you at? Puffin', drinking Henny, throwing it. If you feel what I'm saying, on my react. When it's time to hit the street, we got your back. Straight from Lincoln to Christopher Ave. My NY peoples, y'all know where it's at. Is on your mind, you deaf, dumb, and blind. Look a little deeper, it's my you gon' find. Trying to find out really where your heart is at. With me, you gotta be smarter than that. Not feeling the cat, talking got the heart to face me when your blood hits the air. Believe me, I'ma taste it. I got you think you putting in work. Like me, moving in, leaving them hurt. You jerks, don't be wide-eyed or surprised. Let the truth be told. Someone born, someone dies. I'm hobnobbing with the guards deeper than the mob. Taking it every time, don't give a f who you are. That's how it be when you messing with me. What? That's how it be when you messing with me. Keeps it real for streets. Banging heads on concrete. Blowing spots, connecting dots. Putting MCs to sleep. Takes it far, ball, kill them all. Watch them fall when they call. Got the ball, bring it on. You wanna react? Where you at? My NY niggas, y'all straight got my back. You ain't got what it takes, yo, to come and get it. When it's real, knowing how to really spit it. Shaolin, motherfucker. Where you at? Pumping, drinking Henny, throwing it. If you feel what I'm saying, on my react. When it's time to hit the street, we got your back. Long Island, motherfucker. Where you at? Pumping, drinking Henny, throwing it. If you feel what I'm saying, on my react. When it's time to hit the street, we got your back. NY, motherfucker. Where you at? New Jersey, motherfucker. Where you at? Philly, motherfucker. Where you at? DC, motherfucker. Where you at? VA, motherfucker.
That's Where You At by Strong Arm on Tuesdays Live. Unfortunately, as you can see in the window over here, the call is still frozen. Strong Arm is not with us, which is unfortunate. I'd hoped he would have connected back with us by now, but it doesn't appear that that has been the case. But great song. I really want to know where that came from. That sounds to me like one of the closest to the traditional kind of rap that I grew up with back in the 80s. Very good stuff. When compared to the other two, it's the most traditional of the three, I think, which is surprising and interesting to me. Now, again, I apologize, but our guest, Strong Arm, is not with us at the moment. The call that he is calling in on, the video call, has dropped. And it's unfortunate because I had a ton more questions to ask. Unfortunately, we've only got about 10 minutes left in the show as well, so we don't have a lot of time. Now, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this up so that we'll basically wind up ending the show early due to the technical difficulties of getting the call in. But I do want to leave this lower window on just in case Strong Arm does have the opportunity of calling back in and getting the video working so we can pick up the conversation in what time we have left. Next week, we will not be on the air, but we will be coming back on the 27th of March. So I want to make sure you join us then when Deidre Thornell will be our guest on the broadcast. Today, you've had the great pleasure, and I've had the great pleasure of listening to music by Strong Arm, a native of Brooklyn, Brownsville, Brooklyn to be exact, and big guy, isn't he? I mean, really, he's 6'2", 200 plus. He's a big guy, but he's a nice guy as well. We had some good conversation off the air as well as on the air. Certainly hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. And one of the things that I was looking forward to asking him was a little bit about the Snowmageddon. It's kind of supposedly happening on the East Coast, but we didn't get a chance to talk about that. So maybe we'll get the opportunity to ask him about that at some other point. I certainly would like to have him back on the program with a better connection so that we don't have dropped calls happening on us. So we'll see what happens. But I do want to thank everybody for being with us today on Tuesdays Live. Mark has been out sick, which is not a good thing. Never is a good thing when you're sick. But if you're sick in Florida, it's even worse because spring break is happening in Florida and you can't go out and watch all the lovely people. I don't think his wife would let him go out anyway. But so he's out sick. He'll hopefully be back with us in 2 weeks. And when he does, we'll be speaking with Deidre Thornell here on Tuesdays Live. I want to thank Strong Arm for joining us today. Great conversation, great music from a very nice gentleman there. And I want to thank you for joining us as well. We'll see you next time on Tuesdays Live. Same bat place, same bat time. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Good evening, my fellow citizens.
Thank you.